Welcome, fans, once again to KB's Unemployed Show, the only show on the internet where you can sit at your job and watch a guy who doesn't have one anymore. What will KB do today? Change guitar strings, perhaps? Grade papers? Worry about his future? Who knows? The only thing we know is it's guaranteed to make you question your intelligence, simply because you're watching it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the unemployed lifestyle of KB.
The pods are now open.
Look at my cat. Look at my cat. Look.
I like to study about the world cities and airports.
KB brings just great instincts. That's what you love about him.
Oh, that boy ain't right.
If Andy yearns for Brenda and Brenda cares about Charlene, who pines for Andy, the three of them form one of these. Kara.
What is it, threesome?
No.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Lesbians. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
I don't mind a bit of bush.
37 in a row?
Shut the f*** up, okay? Shut the f*** up.
Do you want to start drinking?
Yes.
You know I'm gonna have to go for 420, Bob.
Cheez-Its! Cheez-Its! Cheez-Its!
Light this candle.
He's right. Let's light this candle.
Light the candle.
Are you ready for it?
And that candle is lit. I am KB. It's Thursday. Welcome to KB's Unemployed Show. Give you a little update on everything. I'm still unemployed. How about that? So I'm going on about 1 month of unemployment, but I have been having a blast doing this. I was up north of the wall yesterday, and so I hope some of you enjoyed the interview that I did with Christian Bush of Sugarland and Billy Pilgrim, and one of my favorite bands from the 90s. So I hope you enjoyed that. And if you haven't seen it, go back, because there's some really interesting stuff in there on songwriting, creativity during COVID, and what it's like to be on stage in a stadium with Taylor Swift. So that is a pretty cool thing to see. But as I said, I was north of the wall and had to go up and visit my mom. And it was an interesting trip, to say the least. My mom's 84 years old and just still kicking, man. She is still kicking. There is no slowing her down. I mean, she is still as feisty as she was when, she's still my mom, but when she was a lot younger, I mean, she's still just as feisty. And, but when I did get there, as with most older adults, all I could say is thankfully it wasn't Fox News that she was watching, but the television was cranked. And by cranked, I mean cranked. It was, now, to give you an idea, and not every TV is the same, mind you, but to give you an idea of the volume, at our house, if I push the volume on our TV to 14, I mean, 1 and a 4, right? Sue goes crazy on me. She goes, what, you can't hear? That's too loud. Turn it down. That bothers me. And it's a quintessential fight, right? And it's like, well, what's more important, the fact that you don't hear something loud or the fact that I don't hear anything at all, right? So 14, that's 14. Well, what I did the last time I was up there to see my mom, unbeknownst to her, I downloaded the Vizio app to my phone so I could change things on the TV unbeknownst to her. And she stepped out of the room, and I go, okay, I gotta drop the volume on this thing. And I dropped the volume, but when I hit the minus sign, 61. The volume was 61, which is insane. 61. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me at a 61. So I spent most of the last 2 days just getting absolutely crushed with high volume television. Mostly watching bad local news when I know that's redundant. But of the TV stations up there, she watches like the worst of all. She watches the Rylander station, where I think everyone is 12. Somewhere in that area. That is exactly what they look like. They look like they're at least 12 years old. And but one of the things that I'm helping her with, since my dad passed, is helping her to get stuff organized. I had to take her to the doctor, and so she yelled at me because the last time I drove with her, it's coming back from Green Bay, and it was 70 miles an hour on 29, and I was doing 83. And she said, well, we have to go to Wausau. And she wanted to leave like an hour and 20 minutes before. And I'm like, it's Wausau. You can get there in 35 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. And she's like, you are not going to drive fast. And she goes, I'm not going to ride at 83 miles an hour. She goes, you cannot go any faster than 60. And if you do, I'm never riding with you again. And I was just kind of going, well, don't tempt me. Because that, I just might, hammer it, bury the needle. But what we had to do was I looked at her Spectrum bill, and I'm like, this has got to change. Her monthly cable, internet, and phone bill was $330. $330. And I'm like, dear God, this has got to get changed. Right. And had everything that wasn't even using, had all these streaming apps, wasn't even using them. That's another thing, is if you have someone who's probably past the age of, hasn't lived in the digital world, and then tries to get into everything in smart TVs and digital, just give it up. Because, the app streaming, there is no way that you cannot teach that. I tried, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to be doing that. But it was $330. Then it's like, okay, well, we can cut it back. But then she had to pick up channels and pick out the channels she wanted. And she wasn't sure that what she was watching. So I said, all right, we're going to call Spectrum. We're going to get stuff changed. I dropped it to 280. I said, next time through, we'll figure it out, and we'll get you, maybe we'll get you down to about, we should be able to get you down to about $200 pretty easily. But I think that, as I said, that everyone's idea of hell after they die, it's their own vision of what it is. That's what they sometimes say. It's not necessarily this fiery pit of people just in the wailing and gnashing of teeth, right? And I think the line that I always loved was in The Sopranos, when I might have been Christopher, or maybe it was Paulie Walnuts said, he goes, you know what hell is? Hell is spending eternity in an Irish bar where every day is St. Patrick's Day. Well, my idea of hell is trying to convince an 84-year-old how she's got to change her cable bill. That was the most fun that I've had. But I was busting my mom's chops anyway, about it. And I love going to see my mom and everything like that. But, you got to get, I'm getting at that age where I'm older, and my son just completely busts my balls like there's no tomorrow. So it's not even, you just got to roll with it. You just got to figure that's what's going to happen to you when you get older. You go from being someone they look up to the butt of a joke, and there's not much you can do about it. But today we're going to have some interesting fun because I'm starting to bring guests in, because just sitting here and talking to a screen is kind of stupid. And so I want to bring some guests in. Like I said, on Monday, we had Dobie Maxwell in. We did some behind the scenes discussions about what it's like being a comic in the back of the room and stabbing the other comics on stage in the back, which is pretty much what every single comic does. As I said just earlier, the talked to Christian Bush of Sugarland about songwriting. And now I'm bringing in a friend of mine who I just met not too long ago, probably less than a year ago. But before I do, hey, KC, we're not going to talk politics here, my friend. Why is Trump causing world havoc? I don't know. I didn't talk to him. Okay. So I don't even want to get into those discussions because it's above my pay grade. With everything going on, as I said to people once, and I'll say it again, I ain't fixing it. And I'm pretty glad that I'm closer to death than I am to birth. So I don't have that much longer to ride it out. But anyway, I'm going to start bringing some friends in. I just got some confirmation on a couple other guys who are going to hop in next week. I know that Red Hot, he bailed this week. He's hanging out down in Florida, taking a month off before he tries to plot his next move. I've got Billy Gardell will be coming up in the next couple of weeks from Mike and Molly and Bob Hart's Abishola. Jimmy Dore is going to be coming up. Maddie Vasgersian is going to be coming up. So thanks for sharing, Uncle. All right. I don't understand what you're talking about. I have no idea. But all I know is I don't want to talk about politics. Because right now, bringing in is a friend of mine who I've had the opportunity to work with on the air a couple of times, hit it off pretty well. He is the host of Inside Sports Wisconsin, and it is Trevor Thomas. Trevor, what's going on, my friend?
What is going on? KB, it's so good to see you back in front of a microphone, man. That's awesome.
Well, you know what, dude? This is how this is working, right? I was exited. Why? I'm not exactly sure. But I was exited, and I'm like, I had done all this work trying to get this YouTube stuff together. And as you know, because you do all of your stuff with Inside Sports Wisconsin and being on YouTube and all the digital platforms where all the kids are, you have to keep shoveling coal into that furnace. And if you stop, then, no one's going to see any of your stuff. So I'm sitting there going, Drew and I had gotten some pretty good we had gotten some pretty good traction there. And then next thing you know, it's like, well, I don't want to lose that traction. So I got to do something. And I can't really do a sports show. I can't do the show I did before. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to talk about being unemployed. So that's all I'm doing is just telling people what I'm doing when I'm unemployed. I've thrown a couple of things in to the mix, and you are going to get to play along with a couple of these things because two features that I have on every show is what color is the sky on your planet is one, and then my all-time top 5 worldwide list of favorite things. And to give you some sort of example, my all-time top 5 the other day was my all-time top 5 worldwide favorite women's prison movies. So yeah, and then I had top 5 centerfolds from the 70s that inspired teenage boys, right. And so all of those things.
I thought you were going to tell me, by the way, that you went up to see your mom based on that song by Sugarland. Dear Mom and Dad, please send money. I'm so broke and it ain't funny.
No, that's not it. Well, I'm almost broke, but you've been unemployed before, haven't you? You know what it's like to be unemployed.
Absolutely. I do. Not fun. That's what it's like.
No, it's not. But you had to do some fun things when you were unemployed. And I'm going to get to the whole Inside Sports Wisconsin thing in a little bit. But I had this a few years ago. I had the Summer of Kevin that my wife wasn't real fond of about 10 years ago when I was out of a gig. But what's the most fun you've ever had when you were unemployed?
I've only been unemployed, officially unemployed, one time. And actually, I was working on Inside Wisconsin behind the scenes when I was unemployed. So I think I was unemployed maybe for 11 weeks or something like that. It was early 2021. I was working at a firm that specialized in office space during COVID. You tell me how that firm was doing from a business development standpoint. COVID was weird. We all know that. So at the beginning of 2021, I lost my job, but I had started working on Inside Wisconsin and the brand development in September of 2020. And so, yeah, I think I was unemployed for about 11 weeks, got a job, and then decided to take the leap of faith and do Inside Wisconsin full time. That was in June or July of 2021, and I haven't looked back. It's been incredible.
And so Inside Wisconsin Sports, that's your primary, that's kind of the primary thing that you've been doing. That's how you're the most well-known here in Wisconsin. And you did that with John Anderson of ESPN. How did that relationship come about?
It's kind of a fun story, actually, and it probably involves a bobblehead up here. Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, this is it right here. This is the bobblehead. So I was working when I was younger, back in 2009, 10, and 11, something like that. I was working for the Green Bay Bullfrogs. I'm not a weatherman, KB, but you can kind of see that Bullfrog bobblehead. It's the Northwoods League team here in Green Bay. That's where I'm at. It is now called the Green Bay Rockers, but when it started in 2007, it was the Green Bay Bullfrogs. And I was their public address announcer for 7 seasons, but after their second season, I joined them full-time to do their promotions, their marketing, their public relations, their sales, that kind of stuff, right? So I had been telling the guys that ran that team for a couple of years, you got to call John Anderson at ESPN. He's from Green Bay. He's a Sports Center anchor. He's on Wipeout. He's the hot thing right now. Let's get him to a game and do a bobblehead of him of some kind, do a promotion, and we'll go from there. So I picked up the phone on my first day full-time at the Bullfrogs, and I called the front desk of ESPN. And that was when people picked up. I have no idea if there's human beings that pick up, but there was then. A woman answered, and she said, "Hi, ESPN." And I said, "Hey, it's Trevor in Green Bay calling for John Anderson." And she goes, "Oh, just a moment." And I'm like, all right, up the PR chain I go, or some communication, something. She sent me right to his desk. And I thought she made a mistake. I was almost ready to hang up because I was like unprepared for whatever that conversation was going to be. And so I rambled through some message, and I had understood that he had played Little League here in Green Bay on the field and at the stadium that the Bullfrogs played in. And so I said, "John, I know you have a foundation. I'd love to raise some money for you and your charity and figure out what we could do together. Give me a buzz back when you can." So 6 weeks later, it's the end of November. This is in October. So end of November, I'm half in the bag at deer camp up in Minocqua. And my phone rings, and it's Bristol, Connecticut. And I'm like,
really?
Oh, goody. So I jump out on the deck, sober up. I pause the euchre game. I answer. Here it's John Anderson calling me back. And that's literally how we met. So we got him to Green Bay. We actually did a bobblehead of him. So this is the bobblehead that started it all between John Anderson and I. This is John in his National Merchandising Corporation Little League uniform. His mom had a picture of him of what he looked like when he was playing Little League. And so we made the bobblehead of him in his Little League uniform.
I love that.
And when we had him back, we flew him back to Green Bay. It was ESPN jersey theme night. Did we ask for permission with that one? Sure didn't. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I digress. So we had him in, and then we had him throw out the first pitch. He signed a bunch of autographs. We had these ESPN-themed jerseys that we auctioned off for his charity. And I actually was able to track down all 3 of his Little League coaches here in Green Bay.
Oh.
And when he went out to the mound to do the first pitch, we surprised him with them. And it was awesome. I think we raised $5-ish grand, something like that, to his charity that night. We went out to dinner, got to know each other a little bit, always stayed in touch. The following summer, we had him and John Henson out, comedian John Henson from Wipeout.
Oh, John Henson is really funny.
Really funny. We went out
And
to Brett Favre's Steakhouse after that night. I'd never laughed so hard in my life, KB.
He's the guy. He was on Last Comic Standing, right?
I don't know. I actually, if he was, I'd be surprised if he was. Here's why I say that. He was the original host of Talk Soup. Remember that show on E! Entertainment?
Oh, okay.
Cable?
I was thinking about, I know who that is now. I was thinking of somebody else that is a John Close Henson.
So anyway,
he was
John Henson came out for Wipeout night. And you might recall at the end of Wipeout, John Henson said good night and big balls because they had those giant red rubber balls on that show. So long story short, they came, we did that together, and ultimately John and I just stayed in touch over the years. And so when we were starting the Inside Wisconsin podcast, so I do a podcast called Inside Wisconsin Podcast, and then I do the morning radio show now called Inside Wisconsin Sports. The podcast started that September of 2020. I called up John's phone, and we'd stayed in touch, so this wasn't abnormal. And I said, J.A., Trevor, how are you? Hope you're okay through all this. I've had a dream to start a podcast that features the people, the stories, and the statriotism of the most known and recognized people in Wisconsin without touching politics with a 10-foot pole, but also wanting to focus on sports, sporting life, culture, entertainment, just people that were either from here or spent some time here, just recognizable people. But I wanted to tell their story. We all know what they did and how they did it. But who are they and how they help shape us and how we help shape them? And John goes, I love it. Let's do it. And I was like, awesome. All right, man, more to come. I hung up the phone. I looked at my wife and I said, oh, shit. I have no idea what I'm doing next. And
Isn't that great, though?
Yeah. Oh, it was a blast.
Actually, your feet in the fire?
Bingo. We jumped in cannonball style. 9 months later, we launched our first episode, April 1st of 2021. We had Barry Alvarez on. And somehow the stars aligned where Barry was actually telling us on the podcast that he was getting ready to hang up the reins, if you will, and retire from UW.
And he had not announced this?
No. So here we are, brand new show.
Breaking it.
Exactly. And we were the only ones with audio and video of Barry talking about retiring. So to say we made a splash is an understatement. And we have put out an episode every other week since then. We've never missed. Actually, an episode launches later today with my new co-host, Dario Melendez from Channel 12 there in Milwaukee.
I know Dario very well. Great guy. Super guy. One of my faves. He is a good cat, and he's funny, and you'll have a lot of fun with him. But the whole podcast thing, I mean, I'm new at this. I'm looking at you on here. Look at how nice your camera is and your microphone and everything like that. I sound like I'm in a big hallway and everything. I'm just kind of, I'll have to get it down at some point so it sounds a lot better. But I am just, you'll have to send me your equipment list so I know what to buy. But the whole podcasting thing, when you started to do that, did you have any idea, that it would catch on at all? Because it's, I don't think mine is going to, although. In the comments, I'm just going to put this one up here. Love from India. So, we are international here.
International sensation. Look at you.
And I think that with 58 people watching and one from India, that's a pretty high percentage. So we've got pretty good market penetration over there on the other side of the world. But anyway, so when you started doing the podcast and you get John Anderson and your feet were thrown into the fire, what was your next move? Do you remember what your first show was about?
Yeah, we had actually done a show.
You had Barry.
Yeah, we had Barry, but
right?
John and I spent literally, KB, 9 months from the time the show idea was born that September up until we launched our first episode in April. I think that's 9 months. Long story short, I had no idea what I was doing from a podcast standpoint. So I watched YouTube videos, figured out what equipment to buy, how to build a set, how to soundproof a room. And I wanted to make sure that I had all of this stuff, lights, camera, action, so that I didn't look like a guy in my basement, even though back then I was a guy in my basement. Right.
Like me.
Well,
I'm just in my office. That's all.
It looks good, man. It looks good.
It doesn't. It's horrible. But
so you said, did I know if it was going to take off? The answer is no. However, I very much dedicated myself to this craft. So I actually started in radio when I was 16. Mm-hmm. And when I was a senior in high school, I went to the general manager of the radio group that I was working for then. And I said, hey, I'm off to college to play basketball. What's my major? Radio, TV, film, right? And he goes, no, marketing. And I was like, no, radio, TV, film. That's what I want to do. And he said, Trevor, if you don't learn how we make money in this business and learn how to go make money in this business, then you'll never succeed and you'll bounce on-air job to on-air job to on-air job. So I actually spent the first 20 years of my career in this business on the sales side, learning the marketing, learning the advertising, learning the communications, and how to help a potential partner understand what the mission, vision, values are of my show, of my company. Mm-hmm. So when I launched my own thing, KB, I didn't know if it was going to stick, but I did know that I could go and tell the story of why I wanted to do this and see if I couldn't drum up some partners. So within 4 months of me starting the Inside Wisconsin podcast, two of my buddies, very successful restaurateurs here in Northeast Wisconsin, approached me and they said, we absolutely love what you're doing. What's it going to take for you to do it full time? I gave them a number. The number was what I was making per month before I was let go from my job. Mm-hmm. And I gave myself 6 months to pull this off. So they wrote me a big fat check. Wasn't that big fat check, but it was enough for my family to have an income. And then I hit the streets and I started selling. All the while, and you mentioned this at the top, you have to stay consistent and frequent with a compelling message, and over time, it'll stick. So the idea of Inside Wisconsin was all non-day-to-day stuff, like non-radio show stuff, but more deep dives with people. And let's put it out there and see if people enjoy it. And that was almost 5 years ago.
And so, see, I spent my whole first part of my career in advertising, worked for advertising agencies. Radio was my side gig. And then when I got older, I said, with Drew, and he and I had been hanging out for about, 30 years on and off, 25 or 30 years. And he said, hey, he goes, hey, come on over and do this show with me. So I started doing with him. So I did it kind of the same way that you did. I'm always looking for that marketing angle. But I mean, this is a whole different ball game doing all of this stuff. It's really a completely different ball game. So I'm just throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. But you've done co-hosted radio shows with me, and that's my whole MO is that I go in without a plan.
Yes, you do.
Plan. I'm
no the opposite of that. I am very much a planner, but when I was riding those coattails of KB's, you just jump in cannonball style and you kind of zing to the zang. It was pretty fun.
So, but you stayed up in Green Bay. What do you love? Because now we were talking, I went to school, as I said, at the, and we'll probably get into some softball discussions too, to St. Norbert College, the Harvard of Brown County. But in Green Bay, what do you like about sticking around in Green Bay? I loved my years in Green Bay. I think I was there for 4 years of college and maybe 2 years after. I mean, I've done my share of all you can eat chicken at the Swan Club, and I'm still a member of Moose Lodge 801. But what is it about staying in Green Bay? Did you have opportunities to go somewhere else? Because I mean, dude, you got some good pipes.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You got some good pipes. Yeah.
My wife and I moved here when we were boyfriend-girlfriend back in 2006, October of 2006. I got a job in radio sales here in the Appleton, Green Bay market. My wife is from Kiel, Wisconsin, which is 50 minutes south of where we are in De Pere.
You ever go drinking at the Kiel Over?
I'm not sure what it's called today, but I've hit every bar in that city, so probably
the Flying Machine in New Holstein.
See, all these bars may have different names now, but I've dabbled.
Let's see. Ernie and Karen's was in Tish Mills. Anyway,
there's one that's called MT Glass. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's one that's called the Underground. Yep, MT Glass. Okay. There's one that's called the Underground. I think the Kiel Lounge is still called the Kiel Lounge, actually. It's funny that you bring that up.
Okay.
We chose to stay up here because Green Bay feels like where I grew up, only bigger and more spread out with things to do. I grew up in Jefferson, Johnson Creek, Wisconsin, halfway up between Madison and Milwaukee, right on I-94.
I love that you said Crick because that's how it's pronounced here.
Damn right it is. It's not Creek. People that say Johnson's Creek are just doing the poke the bear. It's Johnson Creek.
Johnson Creek.
We moved up here and fell in love with the area. We've chosen to stay here because this area has everything that I'm looking for in life. I am a Wisconsinite through and through. I spent some time in Florida. I made it 3 months. I drank myself completely stupid and said, screw this. I want to come home. I got real homesick because I love Wisconsin, the seasons and all that. I'll never forget it. I walked out of my apartment in West Palm Beach, Florida. It was cloudy one morning and like 52 degrees. And I went, home. So I moved home.
Really? Okay. Wait. I walked out of my place in West Palm Beach and it was cloudy. So what's the temperature today? In the 20s. And I decided to come back here. I am spending every waking hour trying to figure out where I can move to where it's warm.
It's funny. Yeah, I love it here. I love the seasons. I'm a big outdoorsman in the wintertime, big hunter. I actually prefer the cold. I hate being hot. So I love living here because spring, fall, and winter are the vast majority of the months we get to spend. And the temperatures aren't stupid.
Okay, well, I mean, they're not Ben says West Palm in Boca is ridiculously hot. I imagine it's humid. It gets
hot,
nasty.
Humid. Yeah, it's the New York City of the South as well. Palm Beach County. Back then, this is 2006, so 20 years ago now. Palm Beach County at that point had 1 million people. One county. It was absolutely stupid. And it's just not my jam, man. I'm a Midwestern boy. I love Wisconsin. I love everything about what we do as a state. The Midwest, nice, helping your neighbor, lending a hand. This is where I wanted to be.
Well, okay, so Green Bay, you're doing sports in Green Bay, small town, major team, right? Yeah. They live and die by the Packers, and it's obviously, and it gets documented all the time how it's one of the most unique markets in all of professional sports, where they actually change mass schedules when the season comes around. So people can get home for the game. But, it's what is it like boots on the ground up there? Because the last weekend was very, very disappointing. I mean, I'm not doing sports radio, so I'm not in tune with it. But everywhere I've looked on social, it's the fight between getting rid of LaFleur and doing this, and we need that. But what's it like in the grocery store?
Yeah, it's interesting. Only you got to remember when we live here, and you did too for a while, it doesn't revolve around the outcome of the Packers past Monday morning. Mm-hmm. This is just normal life. My boys went to grade school in the shadow. I know that's a term that a lot of people use, the shadow of Lambeau Field. No, literally the shadow. In the parking lot where the swing set was, or the playground, you could look up and literally see the G on the side of Lambeau Field. Mm-hmm. So when you live here and they are growing up here, the Packers are just a part of your life. Lambeau Field becomes packed on home game weekends, but that's only 8 or 9 games per year. So it's not like we live and die by the hustle and bustle of the game. But when the Packers do what they did to end the season, it's certainly a topic of conversation. I'll give you that.
Yeah, the people weren't very happy, to say the least.
No.
And it was a little bit disappointing. As I said, I told people about, there's a guy that's become a good friend, Bear Fan Bob, and Bear Fan Bob is awesome. I mean, he is a hardcore Bears fan, right? And he showed up at a place where a remote that we were at, and he's wearing this Bears jacket, and he was talking about, this is Tommy Thayer's jacket, good old number 57, and it's like, he gave it to me, and I was like, when you first meet someone like that, kind of raise an eyebrow and you're going, takes the jacket off. Thayer is written right in the back. And then he invited me out to play golf. down at Strawberry Creek. And the guy that he had, he goes, here, I want you to meet my friend Jay Hilgenberg, who was, he was an offensive lineman on I believe he was the center on the 85 Bears team. And that was, and I don't care what you say about the Bears. You got to respect that team.
The hell I do.
Oh, my God.
Zero respect for that
For the 85 team? Oh, come on.
The Bears and KB.
For the 85 team.
You picked a hell of a week to say you got to respect the Bears.
No. Just that 85 team.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
No, because Ben, it's Ben Johnson is he's the biggest nozzle I've seen down there in ages.
Yep.
And he's a total nozzle. And I think let me go find this. When I was watching the game the other night, I don't tweet or X or whatever that much, because every time I do, I lose followers. But you tell me if this is a good analysis of Mr. Ben Johnson. I said Ben Johnson is a guy in college who is only a sophomore, but he's hooking up with a senior in a sorority, so he walks around like his shit doesn't stink. And so he's the Billy Zabka of pro football. The guy, you know who Billy Zabka is, the guy from Karate Kid, the blonde guy from Cobra Kai. And he's always done those things where he's the biggest douche in every teen coming of age movie. Yeah, that's the way I look at Ben Johnson, as a total nozzle.
That's what it feels like, and he has no reason to be doing what he's doing. That made a lot of conversation here in Green Bay and across Wisconsin when he pulled what he did with the handshake and then the F them, F the Packers, I hate those guys in the locker room after the game. He made some enemies. He made some enemies pretty quick here in Green Bay.
Well, and all the Bears fans are just going to say, hey, that's just sour grapes. We beat you, this and that, and whatever. I mean, who cares? I mean, I really don't. He's pretty much a nozzle. But Bears fan Bob, man, he's pretty kick-ass because he's a big fan. Well, first of all, he's a Bears fan. He's a season ticket holder, goes to the game, but he's smart, right? He understands the game. He's intelligent. He doesn't have this blind faith in the Bears. It just doesn't follow them blindly, and is willing to criticize them. But the icing on the cake with Bears, well, there's two. There was the icing on the cake, and then the little flowers that you put around. The icing on the cake was the fact that he's a Bears fan and a Sox fan. Hates the Cubs. So I went, okay, I could take the Bears side of it. I'll take the Bears side of it if you like the Sox, right? I can deal with that. But the other thing that he did for the upcoming season for away games is he bought us a hot dog roller for his house. He bought a commercial hot dog roller, and he fires up hot dogs for the game. I'm like, this. He said it's got the bun warmer underneath. That, I think, is genius. I think that is absolutely – I just look at him and I go, I want to be you with a hot dog warmer.
Did I tell you I bought a vending machine drunk one night?
No. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What kind of vending machine? With snacks?
Snacks. So it's got a plexiglass front. It's
right.
Old silver. It weighs 1,000 pounds. I don't know, 5, 10, something like 20 slots, let's call it. And it's the little spinny one where you hit the buttons. I'll take a picture and send it to you. And
it's got the little like coil.
Yeah.
That's where you get hangers there all the time.
Exactly. Then you move the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at home chilling, drinking. I don't know. I go on Facebook Marketplace and I see this thing for sale for $500, and I'm like,
"That's a lot."
Yeah, big business idea here. I'm going to put it in my kid's school. No, you're not, idiot. You're just going to go and buy it. So I put $100 down, and I go to this guy's place, and here he does he buys soda machines, rewraps them in your favorite stuff, and then sells them. This one he just wanted to get rid of and just didn't use it anymore. So we try to get the bill receptacle to work, and it kept spitting bills back out. And we looked up how much the thing would be to change the bill taker, and it was $300. Now I'm like, I'll tell you what, I'll give you another $100. I'll get this thing out of here for you, and then I'll see if I can't find that part. Well, I spent $200 on a vending machine. It's in my garage, and I had done nothing with it. It was in storage. But you'll love this. So
yes, I will.
We moved to this neighborhood that we're in now about a year and a half ago. We moved in Labor Day weekend last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in my garage, and I realized quick that we live in this new neighborhood with a whole bunch of young families and little kids running around. And I'm like, you know what? For Halloween, I'm going to stock this sucker full.
Genius.
We moved it to the front of the driveway, lit a bonfire, and we provided the quarters. Everything was a quarter, and the kids got to come up, put a quarter in, and then they would look at the candy and choose which one they wanted, A2 or whatever.
You had to be the coolest guy in the neighborhood.
Talk of the neighborhood, but I took it a step further. Remember Adam Sandler's first CD and how just unbelievably awful yet hilarious that CD was?
Uh-huh. I don't remember, but I mean, because
Toll Booth Willie. If I said Toll Booth Willie, do you know that?
I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan. I never really was, but so no, I don't.
Long story short, the top line of our little vending machine, those were $1.25. You'd get that if you knew what I was talking about, Toll Booth Willie. And we put little shooters in there and put them in brown.
I was going to say the airline bottles.
Yep, bingo. And so the adults, those were $1.25. Again, we didn't charge anybody any real money. We supplied the quarters. What we didn't see coming was these little bastards with their little Halloween gift. They would grab quarters and put them in their basket. I'm like, wait,
no.
You got to use the quarter to get the candy out. It was
get the candy. That was like that, using the quarters. That was like you never wanted to go to the house. There was always some old lady that threw nickels in your bag. It's like, what am I going to do with a nickel? The worst we had was Mrs. McDonald, who, if you trick-or-treated at her house, she gave you the cellophane wrapped breadsticks and crackers that she stole from supper clubs throughout the year. So you get those like onion breadsticks, those onion garlic little things, that's what you would get.
She would just grab some of the cheese spread and just in your
there you go. There you go. Have some, sweeten those too while you're at it.
My grandma used to take the jelly and the jam from the pine cone in Johnson Creek. We'd go there for breakfast. They would have those little jelly and jam things, you know what I'm saying, on the table. Before we left, right into her purse.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. I've gotten to the point now. I have been known to take to go in for coffee and take multiple extras if I'm out at home and I can't get to a store. I mean, I'm not grabbing a handful like that, but I've taken a couple of extra stevias when I've gone to Quick Trip, and I'm not going to lie, but I mean, they're making enough money now.
You're unemployed, KB.
I'm unemployed. Yeah, I'm not going to steal food, but even though I am unemployed. But I will say this. There is somebody at Quick Trip whose job it is to line up all the little packets in the coffee area. Have you ever gone in there? They're all lined up perfectly and stacked. Someone has to do that for a job. Someone's just going, get over there. Where's Tim? Tim, go get those sweet and loaves lined up.
Yeah, I can't wait to someday be retired and go work at Quick Trip. That's like my dream retirement job. See you next time.
Really? See you next time? It's better than Walgreens where you go, be well. But no, I am unemployed now, but I am going to be employed when the golf season comes around because I am going to be a starter at Erin Hills. So that's huge. Yeah, that's huge. I got that gig. I knew the guys out there, and I said, hey, let me come out and do this. I want to work on a golf course, but I can't loop doubles. That would kill me at my age. The last time I played there with Brian Butch, as a matter of fact.
Butchie,
and Butchie's the best. And Butchie and I played in Heller. And Butchie is a horrible golfer.
Listen, a lot of room for error.
Heller is a good golfer. He's
Shocker.
He's a very good player. And so we were doing we were gambling. This is why I love Butch. Butch is such a stand-up guy for doing this. We were playing. Mikey and I are close. At the time, we were both 5 or 6 handicaps. I'm a little bit higher now. I'm not sure where he is.
Wow.
So Mikey handed me the worst beating I've ever gotten on a golf course. I mean, ever. We were playing match play, and he beat me 7-6. He had me done by the 12th hole. Done. Just a fork at me. And Erin Hills is a tough track, right? And the ball I put on the tee on 1 was the same ball that I put in the cup on 18. I did not lose a ball. And he beat me 7-6. Just crushed me.
Wow.
But Butchie, Butchie said he was like a 19 handicap, 20 handicap, something like that. And we said, well, let's play, we'll play to see who buys lunch. And we're going to figure out how many strokes we're going to give him. And he's like, no, I'll just play you straight up. And it's like, you would get 17 strokes, Butchie. Okay, well, I'll take it easy on you. I'll just get a bowl of soup or something like that. I'm not going to order because you had no shot. But he sacked up. He lost and he bought lunch. It's like, God bless you. That is what a mensch when you do something like that, right?
Hey, a bet's a bet, man.
But he didn't take the strokes, and I'm like, that is a balls move. That is a balls move. But I wanted to talk to you about softball because as I talked to a friend of mine, and I believe you started back in the when did you start or worked with the people that did the Pink Flamingo tournament in Pier?
I was asked to be a part of that organization in 2015. It started in 1984.
Yes, it did.
That was the first Pink Flamingo, and this will be the 43rd annual Pink Flamingo. Over those 43 years, KB, this group here in De Pere, who back then just put on a softball tournament. It was a charity softball tournament, and if you ask them, it was an excuse to get away from the wife and kids for the weekend and go and get blasted.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, 43 years later, it's turned into the largest community group, nonprofit, that our area has, at least De Pere anyway, service group.
Really?
$1.6+ million. The Pink Flamingos, or the nonprofit, the Pink Flamingo Inc., the Pink Flamingo Classic Inc., has raised for charities, nonprofits, youth groups, and families in need. It's actually the inspiration for me starting inside Wisconsin. I was so annoyed by how much people hated each other. Haven't recovered from that, have we? How much people hated each other in 2020. And I was like, damn, I need to do something to try to bring people together around something that's not negative. And that all came from the Pink Flamingo. So during COVID, we couldn't have the softball tournament. We were outside, but we understood the optics and all the things. And so you'll get a kick out of this, KB, because you were around here, I think, in '84, weren't you? Were you around when the softball tournament started?
Oh no, I played in probably the first 2 Pink Flamingos.
No kidding.
Yes, because I played for the Irish pub.
Yeah.
In Pier.
Do you have any of your old T-shirts or anything like that?
No, I don't. And if I did, there's no way I would get into them. But I played for the Irish pub. And what the hell? There was a girl who worked there. Just a smoke show. Debbie. Wow. And everyone wanted to, because I bartended there and everyone wanted to work with her. But yeah, the Irish pub's it's been gone for 20 plus years.
What's it called now?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's right on the corner when you get over the bridge. The Irish pub. So Nicky's right on Main Street. Mm-hmm. You come back on that corner and that's where the Irish pub was.
Pasquale's.
Okay. I don't know what it is, but the Irish pub, when we were there, it was the dive of dives, right? And it had inside it had those big wood beams and the rafters, those big, thick 12 by 12s. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
And you'd go up there, when you were there, you'd jimmy up those things, and then people would just throw beers up to you, sit up there all night. But I played for the Irish pub, and we played because it was in the park. It's in East the Pier, right? It's just over the river.
Legion Park.
Legion Park. And are you still doing that there? Is there a couple?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Fields, though.
No, there's one field at Legion Park, actually. The VFW Park, I believe the Pink Flamingo was there for a year at some point, and then it moved back to the east side to Legion Park. There's one field. It's a shorter fence. The Pink Flamingo plays with 14-inch softballs. And this whole thing was just kind of I don't want to say a joke, but it was hey, we want to throw a beer bash. Let's raise some money for charity. Sounds like a great idea. So
yeah, and you followed through on it.
43 years later.
That's right. Drew and I don't follow through on anything. We had so many good fun. But so 14-inch, and I do remember that because I've played every type of. I think I played every type of softball you could play.
Really?
I have played fast pitch. I have played modified fast, where the pitcher cannot bring his hand over his shoulder, right? So he slings.
Okay, yeah.
So I played modified fast. I played 12-inch inseam, 12-inch outseam.
The hell's that? What's the difference between inseam
one goes
and outseam?
farther, inseam and outseam. It's just the way it's stitched.
Huh? Never heard of that.
I don't even know. I'm old, Trev. I mean, I don't even know if they do it anymore. But I played inseam and outseam. 16-inch Chicago ball.
Yeah,
because
one glove on the field.
One glove. First baseman gets the glove, because that's what we played at Norbert's for intramurals, because there were so many kids from Illinois there, and you wanted to be able to do something where not everyone had to have a glove.
True.
Right. So, and I kind of enjoyed playing that. I was a shortstop, but I would never want to play third base, because in the early innings on third base, someone gets around on it and it's like, it's just a rocket. In fact, the third baseman, the way they play, they don't field anything. They just knock it down to the ground. You know, they slap it down and then pick it up and throw it. And then I played 14-inch. And that was the primary game that was played in Green Bay.
Yep.
With the long black mat that's cut out behind the plate. And the one thing that I remember about playing 14-inch softball is that every team, you might have a bunch of young guys on the field, but the pitcher's about 60 years old and he could just freaking bring rain.
Yep.
They would
Up
just
here,
sit
it's
there.
unlimited arc.
Unlimited arc.
So I grew up in
drop
Jefferson.
it on a corner.
Yep, that's where I started playing, was in Southeast Wisconsin. It was 12-inch ball, and it was chuck and duck, they call it, 3 to 6 foot arc. Or 6 to 12. Sorry, 6 to 12. Can't go higher than 12 feet, can't go below 6 feet. And
it's got to come down like from the shoulder to the hip. It's got to come down on that angle.
Not up here. It's 14-inch unlimited arc. And when I first moved here,
and
I was so pissed off. I couldn't come close to hitting the thing. I was ridiculous.
And these old guys, they squat down and then they throw it up and they can spin it and
they jump.
And they spin it and then it hits the back. They'll hit that back corner of the mat. I think that was the toughest softball that I ever played in my entire life.
I totally
and
get
then
that.
I was in my 30s and I quit playing because I was playing in the media league here in Milwaukee. And I always laugh about this. In fact, I saw him the other night and I said, "You ended my sports career." Because I was playing and we were playing against Channel 12, the ABC affiliate here. I was playing shortstop. Guy had a top spin, big bouncer. I charge and go down to barehanded and tore my hamstring.
Oh,
tore it.
How old were you?
I mean, early 30s probably. And
that was when you hung him up, huh?
Yeah, because it bled from the bottom of my ass cheek all the way down to the middle of my calf for the whole summer. It was just, and then it turned green and yellow. It was just nasty. But the reason I had to quit was because the guy who hit the dribbler was the consumer reporter. Wasn't even a sports guy or anything like that. And it's like, I go, "You're the consumer reporter and you ended my career. Who does that?" and I still give him a hard time about it. But that was God's way of saying, you're done. You're just done.
Yeah. This actually will be the first summer that I hang up the cleats.
Are you?
I'll be 43 in April, and I've played 2 years too long. Not this past summer, but the summer before, I tore my Achilles tendon.
Oh.
I blew my left Achilles tendon. It was so bad, man.
That keeps me awake at night in terror. That
you want to hear the story?
No, yeah, I do. But that is I definitely want to hear this story. But that is the worst. That is the one injury because it can happen at any time, and I am so fearful of that one. But how did it happen to you?
I had Achilles tendinosis for quite some time. It was bugging me, and this wasn't why I tore it, but I don't think it hurt the cause. I was running to first. I used to be able to hit the ball really far. Now I hit the ball into the ground right at the third baseman. In my previous at bat, I did that. It went off his chest, and I made it to first. We're down by 1 or 2. There was a guy on first and second. I'm 41 years old at the time. I shouldn't be nervous about winning bar league softball, but full tilt because that's the way I do life.
Mm-hmm.
I hit it right at that third baseman, and I was like, crap. And so I start sprinting. I'm halfway down first. Pow. And there people that do this, they say it feels like he got shot. And before that, I had no empathy for that. I'm like, got shot. Of all the things in life, you're going to compare that to getting shot? But they weren't lying. My first thought was I got shot. My second thought, all of this is in like tenths of seconds. My second thought was, why did he throw the ball at me? Like, I'm halfway down first. Was it that bad of a throw that he had to throw it at my feet? Like, what the hell?
Did he throw it to keep you from running?
No, I thought the ball hit me. That's how much pain I was in.
Okay.
It wasn't. It was all the feeling of blowing my Achilles.
Ugh.
Then I thought I tore my hamstring, and then I couldn't run. I went down, and I knew it right away. And you watch professional athletes do this. George Kittle just did it last weekend. And everybody handles that differently. Pain tolerances or thresholds or whatever. I went into shock. I got clammy. I got white. I almost passed out. I almost puked. And I'm half in the bag. So I'm like, all right, now what?
Well, yeah, you are. Of course.
So my wife had to drive me to the hospital, and yeah, that was quite the ordeal. 8 weeks after I had surgery, I got an infection and had to have another surgery. So that put me on the schneid for a while. I ended up having a PICC line. That was real bad, but that's why I'm not playing softball anymore.
That is just nasty. I
played last summer, but I couldn't get the yips out of my head. I know I can sprint. I knew I wasn't going to do it again, but I just couldn't get it out of my head. Now I'm like, all right, we're done.
Oh, that is just wicked. And I do recall, and this was after I had torn the hamstring, and that's when I said I'm just done doing everything. And Drew called me up, and it was media day for the Bucks, right? And I've done media day. I've never done media day for the Bucks, but I did do media day for the Admirals, where you go out and you'd skate and you'd play a pickup game with all the guys from the media. And I think the last time I went, it's like, here's 5 guys from the team lacing up too. And I'm like, what, are you kidding me? But Drew calls me and he goes, hey, let's go over to Bradley Center. They're going to have it's media day. We're going to play some hoops. We're going to hoop. I said, dude, I'm not going. I'm hanging it up. I'm done. I'm just not going to be athletic anymore. And he goes, no, come on. I said, I really can't get away from work anyway. And about an hour later, he calls me and he goes, yeah, I'm at the hospital. Because I was doing the layup line. The first time I threw a layup up, I came down, I blew up my patella tendon. And I was like, yeah, now you know why I wasn't going to go. And I go, exactly. And that is it. That is the reason I was not going to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I want to take you into I only go for about an hour or an hour and 15 minutes. So I'd like to do a little interview. And then I got a couple of features that I like to do. And we're going to do the first feature that we're going to do here. And I'd like you to feel free to jump in and comment, is a little thing that I like to say. What color is the sky in your planet? And this one is going to be an audio visual. What color is the sky in your planet today? Because I'm learning how to work this StreamYard thing. So I'm doing stuff now all the time with I'm doing all this stuff with pictures and videos and things like that. This is going to be a top level thing, Trev. By the time I'm done, it's going to be unbelievable. As soon as I can find this video, it'll be really good if I can ever find it. Oh, okay, there we go. But anyway, this one, we're going to go out to New York for this. And there was a violent altercation between two mothers in Staten Island at a youth basketball game, 6th grade. And there was like a heated verbal exchange between the two moms that escalated. And I like that. Escalated into physical violence. Okay. And let's take a look at this escalation. Right. Sorry, but there's no sound. And there we go. There's the first push. You got to look at the chick in the white, okay? The chick in the red goes for the hair. Watch these haymakers. I mean, she's just got a couple of roundhouses there on that. But you know what the great thing about it, Trev? You know why I say what color is the sky in your planet? I say it for this reason. Isn't that great? You know, cat fight, okay? And all the officials and the spectators run in, okay? And the moms and the children. This is the worst thing. You can't do stuff like this because your kids pay the price, right? And that's exactly what happened. In response to the incident, the president of the organization said, we're going to have stricter policies. It's going to be a 1-year ban for any spectator ejected by a referee, a lifetime ban for repeat offenses. And I could do a whole show on bad parenting, but I'm not supposed to talk about sports, so I won't. Anyway, but here is the kicker. What was the organization? It was the boys' Catholic Youth Organization. It was 100%. CYO. It was CYO basketball. And these two moms just go absolutely at it and just fire these haymakers around. Have you ever had any encounters like that where, because I haven't seen anything come to fisticuffs, but Bill Schroeder, who, you know, from Fox Sports Wisconsin or whatever the hell, FanDuel Sports, whatever, former Brewer catcher, play-by-play guy, I don't even know what they call it anymore. He told me one thing when my son was growing up, and he's known my son since he was born. I've known his son, Billy, and he said, what you have to do, he goes, if you're a parent, and especially if people know who you are, and I'm like, well, I'm just a radio guy. They know who you are. He goes, get as far away from all the parents and just stand in the corner and watch the game. This was hockey, right? He goes, go to the other side of the ring, just stand with your arms folded. He goes, because it's going to be a nightmare otherwise, because these parents go crazy. Have you had any incidents like that where you've seen some stuff that is just out of control?
Yeah, it actually happened when I was a kid. I was playing in Little League in Jefferson, and two dads went at it. And I remember vividly, one dad grabbed the other dad by the throat, and it was like about to go down. And one of the baseball coaches happened to be a city police officer / detective. So he immediately broke it up, and he said, you go this way, you go this way. And that was it. There was nothing else to report. You're talking about physical altercations at a sporting event, right? Not like a concert or anything like that?
No, I'm talking about like at a youth sporting event. I mean, yeah, I've seen fights and stuff like that, but
for sure. Yep, that's the only one that I've ever seen, and that was when I was playing. I was in Little League. Scared the hell out of me. I'm like, what are we doing?
One of the funniest ones that I ever came across was that my son was playing youth hockey, and there was a dad who just had a bellowing voice. Just the big, and everyone knew who he was, okay, because he would always yell, and he was always going, skate, boys, skate. And so he would always just scream and yell, and everyone knew who it was. And we were playing in a game. They were playing. I wasn't playing. Our kids were playing, right? And all of a sudden, you hear this big bellow from the stands, yelling about something. And I don't remember in particular what it was. And the ref comes over. And these refs that are reffing hockey, you know, they're 14, 15 years old for $30. You know, you got to get off their back. Comes over and runs the guy who bellowed. Right? He runs him because he knows he's got a reputation. Boom, out. You're out. He throws him out of the rink. It was the dad next to him who yelled. It wasn't him. The one time in his life he doesn't yell, he gets run out of the rink, and it was the dad next to him that did that. But that, I mean, I may just do a whole show because I've got a couple of stories that are just psychotic of parents, and that are, when I was coaching too, that are very interesting. What a couple of parents said, not bad, but just where they're just kind of like, you don't get it. You just kind of, because I will only coach really little kids. Okay. As soon as they start getting skills, I want nothing to do with them. Because no, seriously, because that's when the parents get psycho.
True.
Right? I had a guy say, hey, do you want to come and coach hockey with me on Brookfield? And I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll get back into doing that. And I said, what level? And he said, Bantam. So I went, nope. Because Bantam is probably 7th and 8th grade or 8th and 9th grade going in. And I go, he goes, why not? I go, because you got half those kids are going to try and make their high school hockey team. Their parents are going to be out of control. You know, if they're freshmen, if they're second-year bantams, I go, I want nothing to do with that at all.
It's the worst.
It is the absolute worst. But here, Ben in the 414 says Trevor's mic is legit. It is. That's why I've got to get a new one. I mean, I could sit. This mic I use, it's for recording, but it's recording music. It's not the same. You know.
Yeah, boy. I don't know. You got to talk right into that thing in order for you.
Yeah, I know it, and I'm back and forth. But anyway, and so here we go. And here is the second thing before we end. This will be the second feature of the day, and this is what I like to call KB's top 5 all-time worldwide. And I pick a subject, and I give you my top 5 all-time worldwide things. Okay, and today it is going to be my top 5 all-time worldwide natural disasters. I go through these phases of watching things on television. Sometimes it's sometimes it's prison documentaries, because I kind of came back to watching 60 Days In, if you ever watched that, or where these people go undercover in prison. It's like regular people.
I've never heard of that.
Oh God, it's on Netflix. This is freaking crazy. So it'd be like, I would say, yeah, I want to go in undercover for you, Warden, and find out where all the drugs are. But I'm going under as a convict, and you got to go into this, and you can't get uncovered. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people? But I'll go through these phases of what I want to watch. And about a month and a half or 2 months ago, I was in a phase of bad weather, where I was watching bad weather documentaries. And when you get older, I'm sorry, you go right to the Weather Channel. The hurricane season, August through October, that's just prime viewing for someone who's 70. Because here come all the hurricanes. But I thought, okay, what are my top 5 favorite natural disasters that I like to watch? And so I'll give these to you right now, and you can tell me what you think. So coming in at number 5, Trev, is the haboob.
Oh yeah,
the haboob. I don't know. Now I don't know if you've seen a haboob. I have been in a haboob.
I have not seen one or been in one, but that is terrifying.
Yeah, the haboob is a tough one. And I was in one of those in Phoenix, and it wasn't a bad one. It really wasn't a bad haboob. It was just a kind of a regular, old haboob. But I was in that. Now the haboob is basically, it's like a sandstorm.
Yeah.
And I'm not, it's has to do when there's precipitation and wind and it blows the sand up. And as you can see, because I did put, you can see how that rolls in, and that is freakier than hell. And what it is, I got caught in one, but I got caught. I was right by where I was staying when it really hit me. But I'm sitting in my office in Phoenix and I get the weather alert. And it says haboob warning. I don't even know what a haboob is. And one of the women I work with, I am. I go, what is this haboob warning? She goes, have you ever been in one? I go, no, I don't even know what it is. She goes, leave now. She goes, go down, just go. And because it was followed by a thunderstorm. It's basically a sand blizzard.
Jeez.
And so you've driven in blizzards when there's a whiteout, right? Well, this would be a brownout. And it's like it gets in people's pools, it gets in the cars, and everything. It's just an absolute mess. So my number 5 is the haboob. Coming in at number 4 is the hurricane. Okay. I do like the hurricane. The hurricane is a little bit the great thing about the hurricane is to figure out where Jim Cantori is from the Weather Channel, and he doesn't go out that much. He stays away from the hardcore stuff now. He's always on the fringes of the hurricane. But the hurricane is pretty cool because you see it coming in, and then you get that eye, and then you get the second wave that comes in on that hurricane. I believe the worst one ever was one of the worst ones was Katrina in terms of money that the damage that it did. But the hurricane, I had a friend who, I'm trying to think of the last one that just not that absolutely it landed dead on Siesta Key on the Gulf side of Florida. And the guy who played bass for me in my band had moved down there. And so we saw on Facebook that his wife and daughter bailed out to the other side of Florida. And he goes, I'm going to ride it out. And he said it was the wildest thing. He goes, the first half that came through was, it was scary. And he had to go from the first floor up to the second floor. And then all of a sudden, boom, they get in the eye. He walks outside. It's like a beautiful sunny day. But he knew in a couple of hours he was going to get hammered again. And he said, I thought I had to. He goes, I was very close to having to bust out the top of the roof to get rescued. So I'm glad I don't live in that area. I'm very happy I don't live in that area. Coming in, Trev, at number 3 is the tsunami. I've been watching a couple of tsunami documentaries, and what people don't understand about the tsunami that makes it kind of kick ass. There's the tornado is number 2. There we go. Spoiler. What they don't understand, if you ever get a chance, watch the big tsunami that hit when there was like an earthquake by Malaysia. And that's the one that just absolutely crushed everything.
Indonesia, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Indonesia, Malaysia. It's one of the Asias. And
it's one of the shows.
Yeah, it's one of the shows. But when you watch the documentary, there are people on the beach, and it doesn't come in like a big wave. Like, have you ever seen where they surf at Nazaré in Portugal and these 100-foot waves? Look that one up because that's mind-blowing. But you think it's going to be one of those big curling waves that's going to come in and hammer the coastline, right? That's a tsunami. It's not. Okay. And when you watch this, people are up in this hotel and they're just showing everybody walking on the beach. Then all of a sudden people start coming. All it does is it's just the ocean just gets higher. It doesn't stop. And it just kind of pushes and washes in. It's like, oh, dear God. But again, we're not in a bad tsunami area here in Wisconsin. Number 2 is the tornado, which I did something last summer, and I said, this is the most dad thing I've ever done in my life.
Lawn chair in the driveway?
Well, I didn't get a lawn chair, but the weather got bad, and all of a sudden I just felt it was like a moth to a flame. I felt like I had to go outside and stand in the driveway and just look up at the sky and go, yeah, it's looking bad. It's going to be north of us. Look at the west. I don't have any idea why I did that, but I did that. But the tornadoes, when you get those multiple tornadoes, now I was in the area of one once but I was not in the heart of the path of it. And that was kind of freaky. But the tornado, and those are good documentaries too. Or you watch, and here's a tip. I don't know if you're into the weather thing, but whenever you see those
very
storms,
much so.
So then you go to Ryan Hall, y'all, on YouTube and watch him.
Huge.
And read Timmer.
I'm a closet meteorologist.
Are you? So you watch Ryan Hall?
I don't.
Oh, dude. Next time there's storms
Ryan
anywhere, it doesn't matter. Go to YouTube and go.
Is he a storm chaser?
He does weather better than weather people do weather. He's got a setup in his YouTube studio. He's got storm chasers on the ground. Now, Reed Timmer is the big storm chaser.
Yeah, that name I knew.
And when we had the bad ones up by Fond du Lac, Reed Timmer was in the area, and I'm like, I gotta go find this guy. But that was the but this Ryan Hall guy. Hold on.
If Reed Timmer, can you just imagine? There's a tornado coming, the storms are terrible, and all of a sudden, on his glass, his little storm chaser.
Hey, Reed!
I'm KB.
Well, my son turned me on to Reed Timmer, so he's pretty kick-ass. But this Ryan Hall guy, you got to see the maps that he has behind him, and then he's got access to all these live cams and wherever it is, and he goes in, here's from the highway here, and it's mind-blowing. So if you're a closet meteorologist, just go look him up on YouTube. And then last but not least, the number one of my favorite natural disasters is the volcano. The volcano. Now, I was in the one in Kilauea, and the Big Island, Hawaii, just blew again.
Oh, it did? Really?
Yeah, it was like last weekend it was going. And my wife and I had gone 4 years in a row to the Big Island. And we went to Volcanoes National Park. And you can walk out right by these craters and look down. And it's going to be, and you can see, well, first of all, everything smells like sulfur, but you're walking out on these lava fields and there's like little fissures in the big lava thing. And they're glowing, underneath, and there's like lava rivers flowing. I didn't go too far out, but there are like little lava rivers flowing under there, and it's just wild to do that, to go and see that. It's absolutely mind blowing. But the volcano, when that thing erupts, and the you can't stop it. And if you watch a documentary on it, you'll have these people in Hawaii. There's nothing you can do. If the lava's going right at your house, it's done. You're not putting anything up. You can't hit it with water. You're out. But one of the last ones that they had, there were people that the two lava flows went down around and they were caught inside. They couldn't go one way. They could not get out, because it went on either side of where they lived. So it crossed the roads. You can't go to the left. You couldn't go to the right. They were caught in the middle of these two lava flows, and they had to take helicopters in to get them out. Jeez. So
I'm watching this on my end right now. This is terrifying.
What, the volcano?
Yep. Mm-hmm. That is molten, spewed awfulness.
And when we were in Hawaii, we were talking to someone about that, and they said, hey, don't go out on that too far, you got to be careful. And there was a guy who was like a geologist or something, and one of them cracked and he went in, and it's like dead immediately, just incinerated. It's so hot. Jeez. But so hey, that's a great way to end the show. But Trev,
incinerated, dead,
incinerated. Yeah, hey, no, thanks for coming on and killing time with me, Trevor. And Inside Sports Wisconsin, I've tuned in a few times. You guys do a great job. I'll have to tune in and see how you and Dario are doing on that. I don't get up early enough in the morning to listen to the radio, but thanks a lot for coming on, Trev, and I will talk to you soon, my friend.
I'm glad you reached out to KB. It was really great to see you. Be well, bud.
And then I'm going to ask you about where did you get your good equipment, because yours is so much better than mine.
Yeah. Amazon, baby. Amazon.
There we go. All right, Trevor, thank you very much.
See you later.
Yep. And Trevor Thomas here on KB's Unemployed Show. Now, Friday, I do not have a show because that is my day off. But I'll put some content out there that you can take a look at it. And come back. There'll be little snippets up on the YouTube channel. It's YouTube at ASW Drink, which stands for So What You Drinking. And we will talk to you again on Monday. Next week coming up is going to be, he didn't make it this week, but we all love him. The red hot Tim Scott will be joining me and a couple other surprise guests that I've got up my sleeve. So once again, thank you very much. And saying goodbye to you from KB's Unemployed Show. And as always, you know what I like to say, make good choices.